Welcome to the Monopoly Control Your Space or Be Dominated podcast. I am your host, Benjamin Nengwani, an author of the book of which this podcast is about. Today, we are going to discuss how to dominate your problems, and this is part 2. So sit tight and get monopolized. You see, in life, there are a couple of things you need to know and accept. Things that will help guide you, things that will help you prosper and prevent you from cutting your life short. These things I'm talking about are often referred to as laws, principles, proverbs, and understanding. But often we go through life without educating ourselves of these things and without seeking knowledge of life. As a result, we end up resenting things that we're not supposed to resent. In this case, it's the challenges and troubles of life. But let me tell you something. You cannot be alive without risking to die. You cannot win without risking to fail. Risk is part of our lives. Everything we do carries a risk. We might not see it sometimes, but there's always a risk in everything we do. And if you are afraid to pursue things in life because you're afraid of the risk, then you will never know how it feels to have what you want in life. You will never know if you were capable to achieve what you wanted. In other words, you will never know your own limit and potential. You'll go through life living below your own potential, and even then, you'll still be at risk of losing the little that you have. So why not push past your limit and go after what you want? Did you know that we are more scared of things that we want? This is why there's a saying, everything you want is on the other side of fear. I mean, think about it. How long did it take you to convince yourself to buy a car and a house that you now live in? You see, our minds are programmed to see the worst in everything, but you should never let that stop you from getting what you want. It's so sad how so many people even fail to get what they need, like clothes and putting a roof over their head. How is it that we let our minds have so much control over us? How is it that when your mind tells you that there's no way forward, you just accept it? How is it that you don't challenge your mind? After all, your mind is only responding according to what it knows, and deep down, you know that you don't know everything. And if you don't know everything, isn't there a possibility that your mind could be wrong? That you could be wrong? If so, why don't you defy the odds against you? Why don't you challenge reality itself? I came from nothing growing up, and my life was so hard, sad, and miserable. I could have ended up as a nobody, but I defied the reality I saw for my life, because if not me, then who? You see, the life you have is your own, and if you don't like it, you can change it. But you have to accept that life is full of problems, and you should never let yourself get tired of dealing with your own problems. Because when you get tired, that's when life will push you down even harder. Because life is a game of power. If you are not in control of your life, then something is. The question is, what are you giving your power to? Are you giving your problems power over you? Are you giving people, your fears, or ignorance power over you? Or are you taking back control? Those who find peace in life are warriors, because you got to fight in life. You have to fight to get what you want and to keep what you have. Sometimes you got to fight against your own emotions because it is necessary. I've seen people lose everything they had because they could not control their emotions. So you see, everything that exists in your life has its own problems. This means that you got to be accustomed to living and dealing with problems. If you embrace that part of life, you are going to live your life to the fullest. People will be attracted to you because you know how to deal with things. Companies will seek you out and pay you because you know how to deal with problems. I once heard Elon Musk say, you get paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of problems you solve. And that hit me so hard, I had to question the type of problems I was solving. But not only that, I had to ask myself if I'm solving the right problems in my life. Because sometimes you might find yourself solving problems, but not the kind that helps you improve and grow in life. That's one other thing you gotta be careful of, because it's not enough to have the skill of problem solving. You also need to have an eye for choosing the right problems to solve. I often determine this by identifying which problems derail me from my path. And from there, I just deal with those problems one at a time, according to the urgency and importance of each problem. And before you know it, I always find myself back on track. The truth is, you will only live your life as well as you solve your problems. When you see me happy, it's not because I don't have problems. I just know how to deal with my own problems. I just know how to fight for things that I want in life. I don't throw in the towel when things are hard, because I'd rather endure the difficulties of life while I'm in a place I want to be rather than a place I don't wish to be. So is it worth it to always fight, work, and deal with problems? Of course it is. How else will you attain the life that you want if you don't work for it? If you don't overcome your fears and things that keep you from attaining what you want? Listen to me and listen to me carefully. There's nothing on the other side of nothingness. If you got nothing to do in life, nothing to strive for, you will start to lose hope, your will to live in a general sense of things. We are not built, or rather created, to sit idle and do nothing with our lives. But rather we are created to invoke life in what we do, to call upon things that we want to see manifest in our lives. That's why we have gifts, talents, and of our own free will, we develop skills. The minute you stop growing in life, that is the point of which your life starts to fade away. When a tree stops growing, it starts dying. The leaves and branches start falling off and stop growing back. The same can be said about our lives. So if you don't want to start falling apart, keep going in life. Keep striving for more and keep living. I don't believe that we go through troubles that we cannot overcome in life. But that is just my opinion. What is your opinion? Being a monopoly is a way of life. There is a reason why you got a desire for things to go your way. That desire is proof that you were meant to be in a position of power and authority. And all you got to do is discover the power within you by taking up responsibility of your actions. Never shy away from owning up to your mistake, because you cannot correct mistakes you're not willing to admit to. Sometimes you're going to do dumb stuff, but when you realize how dumb you acted, own up to it. You cannot stop something from happening again unless if you correct it now. Some of you are still living with the same problem you had 5 years ago, a problem that is keeping you from reaching new heights in your life, all because you are afraid to face that problem. But if you don't face it, who will? I once went through a financial crisis during the COVID-19 pandemic, and guess what? I told myself I ain't going through that again. I made a commitment to myself and I'm still holding it down. So which problem do you not want to face again? A problem that you are willing to deal with now so that you don't have to deal with it again. So is it your financial problem, relationship problem, or simply your ignorance problem? Either way, you need to identify things you went through that you don't want to go through ever again, and deal with those things now while you can. Because as we grow up, we take up more responsibilities, and at some point you are not going to have the luxury of time that you have right now. So always capitalize on attaining what you want when you want it, because you don't have forever to do it. Learn to live in the moment. This is not something you learn in school or get taught by your parents. Instead, you got to discover that for yourself. I once mentioned that there are good and bad problems, and the difference is that good problems help you improve and grow, and bad problems don't make you any better. Instead, they make you contract and shrink. So what kind of problems are you facing right now? Are the problems you're facing right now demand the best out of you, or are they simply making you doubt yourself? I mean, my problems demand that I do better. They don't inspire me to quit like some of you do. Some of you are so eager to quit, you don't even consider improving yourself to become a better man or woman. That's why nothing ever changes in your life. Well, I'm here to tell you that if you are tired of going through the same stuff over and over again, you are capable of changing that cycle in your life. You got to decide and commit to that change. Once you do that, it's only a matter of time until things change in your life. And I quote, responsibility gives you control. Don't make it easy for anybody to get where you are. Take responsibility for your life and ambitions, and you will live your life as you see fit. Never allow problems that exist in your mind to take control of the life in front of you. That was a quote from my book, and from time to time, I read my book in order to remind myself of who I am. So if you don't have a copy yet, what are you waiting for? The book isn't going to fall on your lap. Nothing worthwhile ever does. My intentions aren't to motivate you nor inspire you, but rather to help you discover what is keeping you where you are and what you need to do to start progressing to a better future. I'm not a motivational speaker, but rather a teacher. So always take up your pen when you are listening to my podcast and take notes. Until the next episode, listen to this podcast at least 10 times. Let it sink in. Take what you need and apply it. If not now, then when?